Should have music on. Welcome to Saturday night, winter solstice. Put the sun in the holstice. I'm the host with the mostest. We got a great crew tonight. Earthmer's in the house. Good to see you. See you here. Assuming you can hear the music. Go. All right, we are here. A herd of turtles. A herd of turtles. Hey, what do you call a collection of turtles?
That's a good question.
I call them a herd. I guess.
Herd?
I just said that herd of turtles.
Wow, I bet there's
I'm
a cool
a shell of turtles.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, it's probably like
together we collectively form a bigger shell.
Yeah, Parliament's like that's already taken, right? I think it's a Parliament of giraffes. Yeah, I think those guys. Yeah. They were the first. They were like, hey, first ones to see what's coming. It's kind of like domain names or 1-800 numbers. You know, it's like
pretty much. And they claimed Parliament.
We got to grab Parliament, man, because we want the gay, want the funk, want the funk. You know, they can't sing because they sing, don't get me wrong, but they don't sing the way we sing. Their vocal cords are so long that the best they can do is hum, and they find it really enjoyable. They tend to hum in the dawn before the sun comes up. So they're sort of like...
You're telling me turtles hum?
I'm talking about giraffes. Sorry.
I thought you were talking about turtles.
No, I moved on to Parliament. Yeah, I should have told. Yeah, I was talking about. Sorry, I need to catch up here. Everyone, I'm on this telepathic train. I'm putting out a lot of telepathic vibes. But yeah.
Giraffes just aren't native to Turtle Island. We were just still thinking in the turtle shell.
Yeah. It's a good point.
Turtle shell or pod.
I was imagining turtles humming on logs.
I was too. I totally saw it. Maybe we just haven't rendered that yet.
I bet they do it too. I bet you they do. I bet you
they just don't have the length of vocal cords that the giraffe has for obvious reason. But that makes so much sense when you talk about the giraffe in that regard, because the longer the vocal cord, Oh, the much harder it is to make the short, sort of high vibrational pitch, right?
That's right.
It really is.
I wonder
That's cool.
if humans can hear the hum.
Apparently you can, but it doesn't.
so.
It doesn't sound like what you would think. You can actually hear it online, and,
Wow.
and unless you knew it was giraffes humming, I don't think you'd know it. I think
I was going to say, do we know that's really giraffes humming, or is that AI pranking
I
us?
think you'd be like, well, it's either a rhino doing like a super long fart, like a 3 day long fart, or but it's actually a beautiful sound. It's sort of like a cooing kind of a
Oh,
sound.
cooing sound.
Yeah, but it's more sustained, more of like a didgeridoo coo, right? A didgeridoo coo coo.
Do they hum? Do they hum because they're communicating, or is it because they're just happy the sun's come up?
I think it's both. I think that it's their duty. They're sort of like the roosters of Africa. I mean, although Africa has a buttload of roosters, so I shouldn't say that. Any roosters out there, please forgive what I did. Look, I'm not trying to give you guys a hard time.
You aren't still in their thunder, right?
You guys are important, but these are the roosters of the mammal, the non-chicken roosters. How about that? Yeah. Google says turtle group is a bale, according to Kathy. Thank you for Kathy.
Bale?
Yes, a bale, BALE. So
A bale of turtles.
a ballet or a ballet of turtles would be. I like ballet better. A ballet of turtles. That's Turtle Lake.
Ballet.
Turtle Lake, isn't that like a famous ballet thing? Turtle Lake,
Swan
right?
Lake. Turtle Lake. Well,
No,
there was
Swan Lake is
There
that's
should be Turtle Lake.
that's a Mandela effect thing, man. You're getting it wrong. It's actually.
Well, a bale is pretty close to ball.
I know. I was thinking that too.
Ball.
I think Kathy could be subversive, so we don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. She's got a star though, so what do you?
I
Who do
think
you
you need
trust?
to bail out the turtles.
Yeah.
Bail out the turtles.
Hold on, let me get my snare drum and rim shot.
That's
Hey,
right.
yeah, Turtle Island was in the news last week.
Can you believe
guys?
it? Yeah. Who can tell us what was actually said?
Well,
That'll show you. That'll teach you for bringing it up.
Death to America,
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
and something about death to ice. There's a lot of death involved.
Okay. Yep.
And then
Angry
Turtle
turtles.
Island.
Metal turtles.
Yeah, but there's Turtle Island, like it was pro Turtle Island too. So it was kind of like, wait a minute. I was just so wonderfully surprised to see that
know.
on the main news of the Fox House, guarding those chickens. So I was like, dang, this is here right
Amazing,
before my
right?
eyes.
Yeah. We're always ringing the bell. The moon is a giant bell, and all of us are putting in a sound into it.
And it ripples.
And I'll tell
know
you,
what I love
Turtle
about
Island
seeing that
really,
story,
really
though,
hit back.
guys? Is when I saw that story, I knew that y'all saw it too, and it's just like I
Totally
knew it was sort of like
rad.
an inside joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. In fact, I didn't make it into Patreon for a day or three. Something was going on with this. I mean, I cannot believe all the things I'm doing today. But anyway, it took me a while to get back there. But yeah, when I was like, oh my God, look at all this. Of course these guys heard about it. Because at first I was thinking maybe I was the only one, but then I realized there's no way. This has to be out there.
Well,
I
we
would
have
have
the
brought it
Turtle
up.
Island reports. That's what we're doing right
Isn't
now.
that funny?
Right.
I know. Same with Hegseth. I think that I was kind of like early on the whole, hey, this guy's a fucking war criminal. Then all of a sudden, I mean, that was the last thing I was expecting anyone to bring up in a mainstream context, As it's been said before, there's never, ever, ever once been an American war criminal. Never. So, the propensity, and still the odds are still zero. So, I mean, just saying statistically, they're still zero. That's all I mean. But yeah, it's crazy when you are this attached to the Matrix, and we're living in a culture, the bale of turtles that we have here, where we don't have to pretend to be unattached. We don't get to insist that if any of us think that we're connected to the world and that our butterfly wings would cause such a turmoil somewhere else, we get to think that here because it's important to think that. It's crucial to think that. Am I right? It's not even thinking. It's more about feeling and understanding that this is the responsibility. So you got to be pinging the moon, babe. You got to be sending the moon some serious bell ringing, going, hey, let's enough with the Nazi loose stories. Let's talk about the moon is a giant symbol, and you can you can hit it with a mallet, And the mallet is
Dang
your
it.
placebo. Yeah. But you gotta.
How about this for another one? How about this for something we've talked about here many times before, about the fact that we've talked about the world and the fact that it's not broken, and that perhaps that there's energies working here that are aware of things and blah blah this. But the central idea that not everybody could be explained everything on a rudimentary level, and that things are working on a higher level. And to just say that we've talked about that for a while, and I have seen a very Christian voice speaking about it for a long time, talking about the fact that anything quote unquote evil is of the devil, and more recently actually bringing up the question: are there things going on above our head that perhaps we can't know about? And it was just interesting in the context of this person I was tuning into, right, and listening to, because it's something they had not acknowledged before, and now all of a sudden they're acknowledging, okay, maybe things at a higher level do have an awareness that are beyond evil, which I just thought was another level of what we're talking about here. Is like perhaps our butterfly wings are flapping out the wind.
Well,
Just saying.
Yeah, it is quite astounding, the yoga that we actually pull off to pull a Paulian, talk about the modern Christianity belief in, okay, all of us are made by God, but we're completely unnatural. We have broken out of the fiber of anything he would expect us to do. And it's because we are eviler than he could have ever possibly imagined. And the entire world is fucking evil. And it's here to make everything else evil. And we are here suffering under this evilness because God had trust issues with this dude. He hired some help. Help came in. He's like, hey, I'm going to promote you because I am really incompetent when it comes to human resources and hiring. And I don't check your references, so I'm going to put you in charge. And then you're going to torture the very people that I care about the most, and I'm going to be like, oh, I can't do anything about it. And the whole time, if you think about what God must be thinking hearing this story, he's just like, what the fuck did I do to you guys? My God, I blow a little wind and some clay, and this is how you guys thank me? Jesus. And then Jesus is like, yeah, Dad, I'm sorry, Jesus. I didn't mean Jesus. I just meant Jesus, look at these guys. And then Jesus is like, hey, tell me about it. I was fucking there. I was there. Okay. You fucking sent me. And by the way, bastard, you hung me on a stick and you're like, hey, it's important. I got to help these people. It's like, what the fuck, Dad? What the fuck? Sorry.
Yeah. I always find it just like, don't you think God deserves a little bit more credit than we give God? Yeah, I mean, really? Come on. Seriously, this is how insulting.
I know.
This is insulting.
And look at all the animals he made.
To think that you could just,
but it's all on purpose.
Look at a baby and think it has original sin.
Oh, totally. That baby's a
freaking. How could you? I mean, it's just a sinner.
Yeah.
It's a sinner because of sex. And I love how you put like bastard, because seriously, if Jesus was a virgin birth, then he would be I don't know.
You're right.
But isn't that the biggest mindfuck? It's like the whole reason you're here, like the whole reason you exist is because of sin, so you can be nothing other than that. I mean, that's the story, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a whole life that all you are is some kind of sinner.
Yeah.
And even if you atone for your sins, you're just still always tainted.
Yeah, well, it's not complicated, Lori. It's not complicated. Why is it so hard for you guys to understand? Look, you're all fucking fundamentally flawed to such a supernatural degree that it even defies God himself. Why is this so hard for you guys to understand? And you're his most important creation. And you really fucked it up, and you guys are just wandering around down here just like making it worse. So way to fucking go.
Do you know how much skill it takes to defy God? Do you know how much skill?
Well, it's
drunken Wu-Li master is what it is, Brad. To like these cosmic degree of drunken Wu-Li master, if you think about it. This is the concept of appearing so drunk that you're actually able to penetrate and commit Zen, and that's what humans are doing. We're just like, look, we're gonna make God think we are so freaking retarded and stupid that he's going to turn his head and we're going to invent cool stuff. And he's going to come back and be like, oh no, I didn't see you invented money. Oh, I never could have foresaw you inventing the internet. Oh my God, you guys are gay. I didn't know you were going to suck each other's things and you had all those sensory organs. Who would have ever thought that all these sensory organs and you guys would be like, hey, we should pleasure each other? I never saw that coming. God. Yes. I mean, God, not like God.
And then you get like this Garden of Eden that you live on, but you're so sinful you can't even enjoy the beautiful earth. So you have to own it.
I know, you ruined that.
How come we couldn't get a God that was out of first grade? I mean, really?
Yeah.
Come on.
And don't get me started on the whole snake. Well, dude, if this is a tree that's like really important to you, like, isn't this like a daycare? Like, aren't you supposed to like not put the really important Martin guitar that's only like the Stradivarius violin? Maybe don't fucking put that in the play area with the kids. And more of them don't have this weird idea with all of them that you're going to blame them all if one of them messes up and like have this weird thing. Like, you did this. You did this.
Look, man. Look, James, I got kids, and all I can tell you is when I had kids, I put the sweetest candy I could find, and I sat it in the middle of the room, and I told them, do not freaking touch this. If you touch it, you will burn for eternity. And you know what? They couldn't help themselves. They touched it. So, what am I to do?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I hang on. Hold that thought. Hang on. I just thought of it. Okay. A party. This is important. A lady is asked by God. Lady is asked by God to determine who should live or die based on their table manners. Oh,
I second that.
Thank you. Renee, this is what I was trying to remember the other day.
Oh, was that it? Yeah.
And I'm telling you, guys, this is so rude of me, but I hope you hear how this is completely related. But the idea, right, that in the old days, how would you determine, well, which of these guys do we think are evolved enough to keep? Well, the ones who maybe show more hygiene. And so if we started doing that now, it'd be like, holy shit, it'd be like this whole other level of forced industrial revolution. Evolution, not revolution. I'm probably sound way crazy right now. Sorry, but I can't believe that I thought of that.
Don't worry.
But the thing about it is, it's like the Bachelorette game, right? So, but what about that marshmallow experiment with the kids?
Marshmallow experiment.
Which one?
Yeah. The one that if you sit in front of a marshmallow for 3 minutes, we'll give you 2. I'll give you another one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
but most
kids can't stand to look at the marshmallow. They have to eat it.
Yeah, neocortex. Does your neocortex have the ability to stop you?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a big cognitive sign of development of that prefrontal cortex. Yeah, which takes a while. In fact, we're allowing people to murder, to via join the military, to vote, to do anything, even though their neocortex is still 7 years in adolescence. And most of that, especially for males, it actually takes longer for that kind of ability to come online than it does for a more female-ish, gender-ish kind of personality too. So different brains. They really brains really are fundamentally grow differently based on the gender. And I think it's more society, because they've even proved that even like tomboys will have a more masculinized, i.e. sort of brain, right? And so it's like as you're living, you're constantly sort of shaping how this stuff works.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that like as humanity moved through different molds, right? So, for example, if you go back before time, let's say advertising, right? Food, right? Because we've talked about food before. Food consumption was based on basically your biological drives. You're hungry, you move for food. At a certain point, the meals, as I understand, were sort of designed as a marketing technique of, oh, hey, eat breakfast in the morning, which was something the cereal companies, right? They invested heavily in. But it was this regulation of, hey, orient yourself around your meals. Here's your breakfast. But it wasn't about biological imperatives. It was about, business and marketing, and how much that has trained us in terms of our natural biology, in terms of habits.
Yeah. And social, how many social things that built.
Right. Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And how much of our social interaction is built around things that were not necessarily driven by biological imperative necessarily.
Yep.
Well, now we have this drug called Ozempic. And it's like, now their science is out on what happens when you take this. Your face gets this Ozempic look, your butt starts to sag, and you get this lack of pleasure in your life. And they don't know if it's reversible.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that funny, though?
Taking like the ultimate thing of like pushing the drug pushers push food, or eating like all of this stuff like market, and not to eat when you're hungry, just because you just eat because you're marketed to, right?
Yeah.
And now they have this drug. Well, there's multiple drugs for this diabetes drug, but now people are taking it just to be thin. Mm-hmm. And then it takes away this pleasure center. And then can the pleasure center come back?
Right.
That's the question.
Yeah.
And the vanity of like wanting not to have the desire to eat. I don't know. There's something about that on the Turtle Island report.
Well, to me, it's such a fascinating thing in terms of all this sort of idea of our desires being the bad thing, right? And like, sometimes you get into sort of spiritual sort of things like, oh, the desire is the bad thing. But just as you're sort of demonstrating right there, I think, and again, I think we talked about it before, it's the fact that in our primal sense, that enjoyment, that taste, right, or that excitement comes from a pure place because it's biologically driven. But then when it gets into this sort of other prerogative, so now it's funny, the reason Ozempic and things become a thing is because people like the food, but also it's like, oh, well, I want to look, and so you get into this conflux where now life doesn't feel like anything, because it's almost like you're disassociating from your biology, and we're just associating with the image of what we think life is supposed to be, in a sense. And I really do think it's us learning to not hate our desires, but learn how to do it healthfully, right? And I think we did this more naturally before maybe Madison Avenue marketed to us, right? But when we're hungry and we eat, it's such a natural biological imperative that we can enjoy that Zen aspect of just the simple pleasure of procuring food and feeding ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. It's such a simple act.
Well, it's also I'm sorry.
No, go.
Well, it's also sort of like it comes back to this training wheels of consciousness thing. Like if you think about all of us when we were young and we would go on dates, we typically would, let's go eat, or let's go to a movie, or let's go both. Let's go digest something that the world has put out for us. And I would argue because we are not a functional self yet. And so we need culture to give us things to discuss, to root for, to disroot for. We need teams. We need fans. We need genres to like and dislike. And these become feeders, sort of like umbilicals almost, even from the Matrix, if you think about it. But if you think about it, this is what the placenta would have to do to the child. It would have to show, look, you got a lot of inputs here, buddy. Let's get you started, and so you're constantly being attached to these different umbilicals that are giving you the different feeders you need, honestly, until you unplug. And I think you unplug quite naturally. And if you look in nature, this exact same process is everywhere, guys. A baby bird is either kicked out of the nest, if you look at it from that perspective, or gains its freedom by jumping from the nest, if you look at it from that perspective. So either it's a prison planet and they're going to kick you out, right? Or you're a liberating cabbage that comes online and unplugs yourself as soon as you're ready to walk around. And you would think that food would be one of the most important, vital aspects of socialization. look, here's what mustard tastes like. Here's what ketchup tastes like. And you're going to have to learn these first before we can move on to soy sauce. You're not going to even know how to handle soy sauce because you're 6. You need to develop the musical training to even understand what a chord is. How are you going to explain what a chord is to someone who doesn't even know what a note is, what a piano note, single note is? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So we need all this stuff precisely because, and it's more of a reflection of how many people are just still plugged in, still plugged into a very, very healthy trough if you think about it. And it's harder to leave the nest, but that's the case of every husk, every shell, every egg, every nest has this sort of challenge, doesn't it? Are you ready?
And I guess the challenge for those trying to leave is to not be sort of be mad or ungrateful for that stage that we needed and that we all need, right?
Yeah.
Looking at it as a bad thing, right? Instead of looking at it as a step to growth.
Yeah, and even looking at it as a bad thing is actually pretty damn constructive because you start to realize where your morals can be, where you want to place them. Even the act of bitching that you've been mistreated is profoundly self-worth inspired. Do you understand?
I struggle with that, but yeah.
But it's true, isn't it? Like if you're going to complain, especially poorly, that you're being mistreated, I would argue that you complaining poorly about being mistreated is a fledgling self-worth that hasn't learned to hold a sword yet, that hasn't learned how to get on its horse yet, right?
Yeah.
That wants to be a squire, that wants to learn, and needs even social structure, needs Twitter, or needs Trump, or needs something in the vernacular that it can rail against or get behind. Purely as a definitive way of defining itself, which is sin. This is really what sin means, because ultimately you are creating a prejudice, and that prejudice is who you are, and the prejudice is your entire matrix of feelings or cosmology. This is why I use this word all the time, of how you feel about what nature and you were doing together. So
this brings an interesting question. I just to interject, would you say then that almost sin in and of itself is just our natural sort of inclination to sort of find our personal, discomfort with the world?
Yeah, I think that I think I think I've said this before, sorry, but I really do think that our identity is just our unique sin. And sin just means, look, the only way that you would know who you are is that there's going to have to be sort of like this perfect ideal. And don't worry, that doesn't have to be real. We just need everyone to agree there is a perfect ideal.
Right.
And then
you miss the mark and you miss the mark and you miss the mark. And then you find out who you are.
Yes, exactly. And you would only know who you are based on where you were, based on what you thought was the navel or the center of the world. Remember we talk about orientation all the time?
Yeah.
The phalos, the first oracle of Delphi, right? The first navel stone, or sometimes the phalos stone, not to get a little bit kinky, but seriously, the humping rock, the first rock that was humped beyond all rocks that were humped. That is your orientation point. And without going there and humping that rock, you would have no center to say, well, I'm living in the north now. How the fuck do you know where that is? Right? Like, you really don't. You would need some contextual relationship. And you can't say because it's colder, because now you're going to tell me, well, why does Egypt have south in the north? Right? It's because of a contextual relationship you have about identity and orientation. Just as the serf learns to step out of the land, so too does the Egyptian learn to step out of the Nile and start to say, well, you could say this is north. This is a greater north, in a sense. Just like there's a greater identity that you would either feel comfortable striving towards or feel uncomfortable striving towards that and returning to your root, to your last identity. And this is, I think, really at the heart of what pleomorphic means. The idea that all of your cells can reprogram their identity is a proven, verified fact with flatworms. And we're just a buttload of flatworms. I swear. Ultimately, who we are is a buttload of flatworms that have cohesively decided that we're a central identity. We've developed a Zeus, and we all worship this Zeus, this centrality. And this is probably really what we're most afraid of, is our own autonomy, is our own power, and realizing, fuck, you mean I'm in charge of all this? And so we could even invent sickness simply to learn how to sin, because we do not want to be held ultimately responsible for our identity or our orientation. We don't want to be held responsible for that. We want that to be erased. We'll play, but we're not willing to bet that the entire future Enoch seed, the ultimate solution, right, is what we're doing. And actually, sadly, some of us do. Some of us are brought up that way. And so you end up with a competition. It's fascinating. The whole thing is really fascinating.
Yeah, I feel I've been witnessing a lot of people suffering on different levels of that material existence of, a real stuck place of victimization. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's the identity of their uniqueness is a victim. It's just it's really cute. It's around 3 years old, and it's cute, but it's like you see the suffering, and that's a little hard to. It's hard to be symbiotic as you feel that level of, wow. If we're in this material realm and our body's made of this material, and it is an experience to miss the mark and to get an opportunity to, I don't know, pierce the veil of the material, to then come back as a God inside yourself and to then master that. Mm-hmm. You have to come out of this is what's real, victiming in, this happened to me and therefore I'm now stuck here forever, is some kind of hell.
I mean, it is, and you absolutely almost have to come out of that, right? It's like, and that's why you're saying that.
I don't think they do. I don't really think you do.
I think some people probably go through this experience. I agree with you, and go through death and into the next whatever in that same mold.
Yep.
It makes me think. So for example, what's going on with my dad right now? It's like he's basically not in an infant state, but you know what I'm saying. It's like sort of relearning, right? So it's interesting to see that from a context of someone who's gone through all this and has an identity, and all of a sudden that identity, gets rocked to the core. And here's what I wonder, because I don't know yet, and I'll find out in time. But I do wonder if that experience has, in terms of what you would express here, you and me, all of us here, right? What we would express right now, we're speaking on this level because we're here. But let's say that we had a near-death experience, or let's say we touched the other side and then came back, like you're talking about, Lori, to come back here and then sort of be a God in this place and not do it. But even in the simple context of someone who's had a near-death experience and is still consciously here and viably wants to communicate something but can't. Mm. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it does make me wonder. It's like, if just the simple experience itself for all of us, just to touch the other side while we're here, if that, what's the word I'm looking for? But wouldn't add an extra a gear or a flavor in terms of perspective, in terms of how we process what we're experiencing while we're alive. Do you know what I mean? And in terms of what you're talking about, the God state, that's kind of what we're saying. It's right. If you can consciously sort of experience on a level somewhat detached from the emotional when we're in our bodies, right, there's going to be emotional triggers. There's physical triggers being here that affect us, right? But is that not what you're talking about, though, Lori, about being sort of like reaching that place where you tune into the consciousness of it, but you're not necessarily pulled? Is that what you're saying, though?
I think that there's like a level where if you can get out of the victim consciousness, you can tap into some kind of other human, like a superhuman state, where James was talking about that on Dojo, and it was about like being able to piloerect was one. That was, we were talking about that last week, but to individually piloerect each one of your cells to open it.
Yep.
So it would be like you get to this master mind where you get past your prefrontal cortex and you go into this other place where you're in these choice points that you then choose to manifest a certain type of reality. You can then do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to come out of this, I don't know, a petrified belief system of a victim.
Yeah, makes sense.
If you
program.
Yeah.
If you think about, if you can try and remember when you were a child and you were in full tantrum mode and you were upset and it was something trivial, you didn't know it was trivial, of course, but I'm just putting you there. You're in that state where you're having a tantrum, you're having a meltdown.
Yeah.
And if you can remember yourself in that state, you might be able to remember this event horizon. There's this little threshold that you pass when you're in that state where you start to realize, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to.
How do I exit?
I don't want to be this upset anymore. And it's surprisingly simple. It takes something really trivial. Like, what was that yellow thing that just, was that a yellow thing? And then you're like, what do you mean, my keys that have this yellow thing? Yeah, what was that yellow thing? Why do they call it yellow? And now you're out. You're in a different orbit. And we don't, as a child, you do not know when you're there, but you can remember what it feels like to shift gears all the time.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to play state. If you think about, this is what I think is harder to accept. I think that we're actually playing when we're entering into this victim mode and we're staying there in our entire life. I think that we're playing because we're this powerful at imagination, and it's no different. Here's what's different. When you throw the tantrum at 7, you're going to run out of calories. And there's an outer onion, an outer personality. And that personality has a lot more calories. Yeah. And that personality, even though you've come out, it's showing, the inner layer is showing you how the outer layer needs to come out too. How it so think of yourself as the inner child is still the inner child. It's actually the outer child, guys. Yeah. We're only calling it the inner child because the inner child is the only thing that we can relate to and we can have a holographic experience with. The outer child is sort of like the dome, and we're sort of inside that dome of that childish tantrum. But even that tantrum is pure creatrix. It's pure play. And it feels menacing. It feels cruel the exact same way it feels cruel when you're watching a child that's just losing it. And you know that the parent is right to just be really chill and just almost a nonchalant kind of an attitude. Not even almost. It's there's so much power in that nonchalant belief. And maybe this is how it works in our body, that you exhume exosomes out of the cells in your body that believe in your Zeus the most. And you as the creatrix are that Zeus. And you have to gain followers inside your body who will give their ability to piloerect purely based on faith to you if they have faith in you as their Zeus. So you perfect your body by tapping into the pleomorphic state of who you are, which points to the idea that all of us are here incubating as these kinds of godlike figures that are waiting to become turtles and leave the log and venture out into space as this autonomous creature, the same way a child leaves that same log once they stop having this reaction to their own imagination and they develop, right? We call that maturing, is what we call that.
I've seen that firsthand with kids. I've seen kids, my own kids and my nieces and nephews and stuff, but how when they fall down and get a scrape, for example, when they're really young, their first reaction is to look at the parent to see how they react.
Yes, exactly.
And if you don't react hyperbolically, the child doesn't.
Yeah, they're asking.
If you do, they will.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the immune system. The immune system is tapped into the adult and the child. They're co-creating it.
I think that we could start a movement on Turtle Island, and I think we should all have a temper tantrum.
There you go.
Like a public temper tantrum. And I was just thinking about what makes the 7-year-old not have a temper tantrum. It's because they've matured into this missed mark, all these sins. They've missed the mark. They have an identity. They have a personality. They have and then you're embarrassed to have a temper tantrum.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do that subtly too, in the way that people are like, oh, did I get a reaction out of you?
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. Oh, this is what we're doing now? We're living in a world where we're not supposed to have reactions and that makes us good people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That gets me every time when I hear people do that. I'm just like, wow. I don't even know how to relate to you, dude. If that's, if that's what we're doing, I lose. Why the fuck would I want to win that game? Are you nuts?
Yeah. And then you watch things like, I just had a little mini clip of, it's been 3 months since Charlie, and Erica's out there in sparkly fireworks right now.
Mm-hmm. Living it up, right?
In front of huge audiences.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, what is wrong? Like, I'm thinking about like temper tantrums and little 3-year-olds, right? And I'm like, but you look at this and you're like, what's reality right now? Is that reality? That, the comedian that I was listening to was talking about people would mourn longer for a dog. You wouldn't be able to do that if you lost your dog. Never mind a husband.
Yeah.
It's like people are looking out there for the way to feel rather than feeling in their own lives.
Yeah, yeah. It just seems so surreal.
Yeah, I think you have to think about it as what are the finger painting activities that you're going to need at the KinderCare facility? And this isn't denigrating at all. Think about what we were talking about earlier about people coming online and they unplug. And until they do, they need teams, they need genres, they need fashions to follow.
Yeah.
They need trends to understand. And this is really a perfect reflection of where the herd is at collectively. And it kind of makes sense. The herd is always going to be doing it's going to be licking its own butthole a lot. It just is. It's just, that's what the herd does. It's why you and I are like, hey, let's not be there. Let's not do that, And, or let's at least feel bad about it when we do it. Like, let's try that, and it's very difficult to convince the other herd that this is fun. They're like, what do you mean? You want us to feel bad? It's like, look, I know it's confusing. But if you eat this Brussels sprout, you're going to feel better. Fuck you, man. I'm not buying that stuff.
Just a big lie, man. The cheeseburger.
Big Brussels sprout, man. I'm not part of big Brussels sprout. But it's like that. That is something that honestly isn't even necessarily a sign of just maturity, like from a sense of, oh, you're hermetically wiser. It really comes down to just the perfect balance of self-worth versus I've had enough of this shit. Ultimately, I think that's really what wakes us up is people find that the herd is so butt licking that it just that's what does it. The self-worth requires one to move because they see what's happening around them. And that is a really powerful motivator. Rain, cold, wet rain in the wintertime is the only proof God would need to know who wants to stay here. Which one of you people finds this uncomfortable? Because if you find it uncomfortable, I just proved that you love yourself. It is the most fundamental kind of proof that Zeus exists inside of you. Your desire to alleviate your own pain, I swear to you, is the first form of mercy, isn't it? The very first form of mercy you ever had in your world was your desire to feel less pain than you do right now. And if you keep doing that over hundreds of years, you're going to develop a trust in a Zeus, aren't you? That your body's going to be like, hey, you know what? When you guys said, let's go warm-blooded, and we were all down here like, fuck you, we like being cold-blooded. We don't want to stay awake all the time and keep this shit warm. You're right. This is better. This is so much better, not being a reptile. Look at this. I have a son. I haven't eaten my son yet. It turns out every time he walks by, I'm like, hey, that's my kid. I'm not going to eat him. Thank you. Right?
That's a tasty marshmallow.
Yeah. Exactly, okay. The marshmallow kids.
But gerbils eat their babies. They're warm-blooded.
Do they really?
Yes, gerbils eat their babies.
Oh, my goodness.
Hamsters, too, I think.
Oh, my goodness.
Gerbils for sure.
Maybe it's just the cannibal gerbils. Maybe it's just those.
You have to take the males out. You have to separate them because they will eat the babies.
It does tend to be the males that are more cannibalistic, though, doesn't it, in the animal kingdom? It really is.
Well, I think the females are like doing something to keep them. But the reptiles just eat the eggs, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. A lot of that in the animal kingdom.
I was just thinking about being a reptile and not enjoying a fire.
Yeah, I know, right? Unless you're a salamander, then you've got, well, it's not really a reptile. You're sort of this weird amphibian kind of.
You mean the ones that are found in the fire?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The salamandras in the fire?
Yeah.
In the fire, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
those are fire lizards.
I know, amazing. Those things are amazing.
I know. They're all different colors too.
Yeah, and all these animals, man. I just so trip out all the time over God's animals. I'm just always just like, wow, look at what you're doing here. Look at this. What is this? This is a 6-point book? I saw that just today. I was just like, wow, look at this guy.
And the other thing is, when you think about the microscope, I mean, really, how long has it been that we've had a microscope? And then when you look under there, those animals?
Oh my God! They're
right? Like monsters.
Yeah, yeah. And we're all just normal about it. All of us are normal about it. Like there's not like a news show, you know. Like why is there not like a giant Fox News show special? Yeah. It's like, all right. And meanwhile, microorganisms. Look at these stick guys. These fuckers are crazy. These stick guys turn into these round hoop guys. Yeah.
Your eyelash monsters. It's like, holy crap.
You're breathing in these death modes.
Oh, totally eyelash monsters. That's
Man,
right.
Can you imagine
I'm going to wake up tomorrow. No one has eyelashes anymore because it's just like, we have to cleanse the land.
Myself completely, and I will continue to do so every hour on the hour.
Oh, totally.
So that this world doesn't touch me, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that a funny thing, though, right? It's like we're here. And like
we're living with a whole bunch of monsters inside our body, on the outside of our body.
I know. We decided, hey, we're going to become a reef. And we're like, wait, were you fucking high? No, trust me, dude. We're going to open up this place. We're going to sublet every square inch of this place to other life forms. And all of us that are like, well, we just learned how to hibernate. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, trust me, dude. This is reef technology. It's going to work. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. By the way, you guys are going to get a lot of syphilis for a long time, but it's okay. It's okay. Trust me.
On the other side, I'm telling you.
Well, in your spine, if you get the 33 stacked, right, in your 6-degree rotation per vertebrae, then you have that really amazing antenna, really your main antenna in your deck, right? Yeah. So
and
that's the one.
Fibonacci
so to
antenna.
get that.
Yep.
You get that going.
And to have that space and that expanse, and just think of that current and the cerebral spinal fluid flowing. So that's really the...
Yeah, we're getting ready for that.
That's the pillar. So
what is that? The milk and the honey and the Santa Claus climbing the chimney. I mean, we're really close now.
Oh yeah.
To get that going on.
Anyone that's ever experienced that flow state knows, right? I mean, if you've ever been in the flow state, you just know that, right? So if you're warm-blooded and you've ever experienced that, it's like, and you want to go back to cold-blooded, I get you. Yeah. But I'm just saying, yeah, that's just copping out because it's like this. It's so good here, but yeah, there's a lot of work to get there.
Yeah.
But my goodness gracious, when you actually flow there, right, and all those juices are flowing, and you aren't worried about the predators in the room. Right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where you reach that state where you can actually enjoy everything about the body, your experience, everything that there is. And we all have hit those states, right?
Yeah.
And life is constantly trying to remind you, hey, by the way, it's not all flow state. And it's like, but isn't it though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the thing about this, what I'm seeing an epidemic in this fear factor, fear has been like, pushed. It's just like, it's a drug. It's like a control mechanism, right? So that's like fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn. It's all fear. That's like your central nervous system shut down. You can't go into like para. You're in, you're in this sympathetic.
Yeah.
So, dilated and looking for, I don't think we've ever been in a more safe like location, but with more fear. And that creates this, like, buying into that, this has happened to me, and then and now I'm in this I've had all these people telling me they're in constant anxiety, like panic attacks.
Yeah, yeah, I have that sometimes, especially when in food, clothing, shelter. That's a real one.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's also what the only motivator really that's gotten us to even build shelters to begin with, though. And all the wonderful, amazing things we've done with like timber framing and shit has all come from that fear,
Right.
So it's like, it really is more of a tool. I think it's a lot like the tantrum thing, honestly. I'm trying to make a case for this, that all the terror that we feel is actively, constructively we are playing. The same way when you're in the grocery store with the kid and he starts having a tantrum over the peanut butter aisle, that's choice. There's a decision there that's like, and if you look at the kid with full sovereign autonomy, which is hard, I know, especially if he's your kid, but you get to say, this is a creative choice this amazing God creature is making right now to express and open holes in their reef to force new information to come inside. To open new passageways requires a kind of angst and fear, because you're creating these new chambers inside of yourself to store securities, and that those securities would have to be limbically connected to the furniture in the world, which is why you're choosing the peanut butter aisle to have this tantrum on, because you're looking for that long-term kind of safety. You're a reef now. How the fuck am I going to survive in this kind of way? And ultimately, if you're going to be permeated with all these holes, if you're going to be stabbed with all these holes, which ultimately is what we are as people, we're being constantly illuminated by holes. We're being pushed and spread. This is really what it means to be pleomorphic, because all of your cells are spread out over this space, and that this space is allowing light to come into it. This is why your fingers are subsurface scattering. When you hold your hands up to the light, they're actually glowing. The color of your skin, believe it or not, is very difficult to copy in 3D because it's glowing. The reason why your skin is glowing is because it's full of holes. It's nothing but a reef. It's subsurface scattering throughout. It takes a certain amount of time for light to enter your skin and come out again, because of all the intricate different membranes that it's passing through. It's reflecting and refracting that, and that even that is part of who we are. So we're living light creatures. And these things are, I think, necessary because they're showing how much sin we have, that our skin is a reflection of our complex identities itself. And I mean this in a good way, right? That sin is all these decisions we've made. And ultimately those decisions, I think, come down to, I don't want to be a flatworm. I don't want to be a flatworm. I don't want to be a flatworm. And hey, you don't want to be a flatworm, do you? And you're like, no. I'm like, why don't we not be flatworms together? And like, okay, I like this. Okay, so we are the non-flatworm. Well, what are we? I don't know. I have no idea who we are. But we're not a flatworm. We're not a reptile. Isn't this how you move up the vertebrae ladder, right? Like what Renee's talking about. Here's if you have one vertebrae.
Stack it.
Yeah, it's time to stack it and keep going.
You are on 2 feet, baby.
Yep. Yep. First thing you develop is a tongue.
Heights.
And your tongue is in your foot are really the same thing. First thing your tongue does, you might think the first thing the tongue does is actually help eat. It's actually not true. The first thing your tongue does is help you move to food. This is what a clam is. A clam is an organism that said, I don't want to be a flatworm. Let's all collectively not be a flatworm, and let's push ourselves 3 inches to the left. It'll take us about 17,000 years, but it looks really neat over there. This is mobility, isn't it? Isn't this the same thing of I don't want to suffer here anymore? Isn't this the same thing of, hey, if I could walk over there, there's more sunlight, or there's this something I could swallow, or there's something I can do over there? So all these things come from us having tantrums. And these tantrums are always coming from us seeing a self-worth potential that kind of spark gaps. It spark gaps into the future, and it says, if I only had legs, you know? And so we grow them.
First, I got to play with my tongue.
Yeah.
To get my legs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You need that cosmic balance of the tongue.
And this is why this is the only proof we need to know that we're pleomorphic. This is the only proof to need to know that we're already chimeras. We already have the ability to shapeshift.
It is so crazy. We're kind of talking about this. It's like, because I'm being able to witness this. My daddy had a stroke, but it's like, and anyone who knows who someone's gone through that, just walking and talking again is the big milestone. But for a body that's already been through that and is having to pretty much be rebooted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And having to know it. But the thing is, I know when I'm with him, he knows how to do this, but he can't figure out why he can't do it anymore. And it's so fascinating to watch the body and to watch, because you can see through expression through the eyes, right? Of the awareness of knowing, I know these things. So it's like when you talk about wanting to move, right? It's like to be bedbound and to want to get out of that bed. You can see you want to get out of that bed. And that's what's driving you to move it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's the whole point is, I guess what I'm going back to is I don't think any consciousness wants to be sedentary. Once a consciousness realizes it has mobility, I think losing that mobility is tough. And that's what I think naturally in consciousness all around is driving us, is that movement. It's like, because, and that's why we talk about a lot of times, yes, we probably are comfortable in a position until we're not, as we've said many times. And that's what provokes you to move. So it's also kind of telling when you're kind of constricted in a sense, and it's like, and you have movement, you're well aware of that driving force that wants to push you forward. Mm-hmm. And yet that's the struggle. That's the back and forth of because that's what I'm seeing with him now. It's like, where do I want to give up? Right. Where is it too hard, but where is it worth striving for? And I'm just thinking in the greater context, when we look at life and we see how hard it can be and how traumatic it can be, yet somehow life continues to try to move forward, right? Like when we ask about God asking, do you really want to be here, right? Mm-hmm. It's that question. Do you really want to continue to move forward? And it's like, that seems to be somehow that deep impetus within us, within consciousness, within this all, that something is pushing us to keep moving.
Yeah. It makes me think about the concept of, so all the Michael Levin says that basically to make a xenobot, like to encourage a decoupled skin cell to do something different, you're going to have to zap it with electricity. Mm-hmm. And when you give it the right amount of electricity, it starts to open ion channels or it closes ion channels. And that all these things are happening simply because you're giving it a certain kind of voltage. And I'm sure it's much more complicated than that, but ultimately that's the only ingredient. There's horseradish sauce. Don't even get me started on this. I know you guys are like, James, you were making this up. You were high as fuck. And okay, I probably was high as fuck when I read this, but that doesn't mean it's not true, guys. I read a lot of true things too. Yes, it's the red velvet. It's the same concept as the velvet in the antlers.
Is not true or not true based on my perception.
So you take horseradish sauce, and then you take the red velvet from the antlers, you scrape them together, and then you make this paste. And if you take that paste and then you put it on an amputated frog's leg, that frog leg grows back, but only when you give it electricity. And the electricity, when you give it to a single decoupled cell, it starts to react differently. It starts to pleomorphically change shape based on the hertz that it feels from the environment. And if you think about what Zeus is, he's a brutal. The mythology of Zeus is he's a pretty brutal guy. He doesn't treat people well. And he's also the leader of all the gods.
And he's loving because he's doing that.
Yeah, because he's constantly inserting hertz. He's all electricity, which means if you think about all your identity is a simple stalking looking for discomfort, because if it can find discomfort and do something to make that cell or those 10 trillion cells that live in your knee feel better, all of the pleomorphic cosmology of those cells believe in you again, don't they? Which means that all the pain and discomfort we experience is constantly a crying out of matter for God. It's matter crying out to God, can I have life? Can we have everlasting life? Is technically the quest for everlasting pain, Brad. That all life would be the striving for discomfort, the seeking for how can I make this better for either myself or the people that I love. And so we're constantly looking for things that could improve, because we're constantly having to prove and to validate to new cells that are coming online, or to cells that don't believe us anymore because we stop paying attention to them, that they matter. This could be why we itch. This could be why we actually have hygiene. That leprosy is the lack of focus, the lack of believing that you have skin cells behind your knees. And if you do not believe in those cells ever, that they atrophy and they die, they become leprous. And so we've developed hygiene simply as a Zeus monitoring kind of technology, that we're constantly sweeping over our body and reminding it, begging it to keep believing in us that we're the guy. We're the gal for the job. And ultimately, this is why our personal cosmology with ourselves, I think, is such a powerful thing connected to placebo, to how we feel about our own health. It's because it's the same kind of a situation, right? Are you a merciful God? What would that require for your body to believe that you are merciful? It would be a constant stalking, wouldn't it? It'd be someone that was constantly grooming itself, that was constantly taking care of itself, that was exposing it to the pre-dawn light, right? To all the rituals that we do. Yeah. To stretching, to balls, to... Exactly.
To echo what you're saying, though, James, one thing we'll add that apparently is in terms of the medical entry is like, so my pops can't really feel his right arm, and they tell us to continue to put his right arm in his field of vision so that he knows it's there. Just to echo kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because they're saying he's not aware of it. Keep putting it in his field of vision so he'll see it's there.
Wow. Yeah.
That's such a real like you're talking about. It's such a real thing of like you have to empower your Zeus to take control of the body. Like how much of it is mental is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they're saying. Is like it's not physically, it's not there. It's mentally. He's got to reconvince himself that he can move that arm.
Well, so many people outsource their health to doctors. Like, they go to a doctor and the doctor tells them if they're okay or, what, and we don't look into ourselves and like, am I okay? Like how we don't diagnose ourselves because we don't even tend to ourselves. And that's something that I think my father and most likely yours are just didn't get that memo yet, because we're just really getting that memo. about how essential our own connection to our body is. And he's in his 70s. My dad's in his 80s. Like, to start now, it's doable, but that's a long gap. He
doesn't believe in that. He's not the type of person to believe in that sort of thing at all. So it's kind of interesting to see him in that regard, and to wonder if, he finds a new appreciation for that. I don't know if he will or not, but exactly to what you're talking about is like his age. That's not in his proclivity. Yeah, he's always been sort of
outsourced.
Yeah,
there's not enough electricity there to believe in something that powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go macro, because I've been listening to this geophysicist scientist talking about the plasma coming onto our beautiful planet right now, and it's expanding, and it's the connection between these corona holes and this this solar activity that we're having for this year. That when the wind, this cone of wind, and it's like these microplasmic storms, that is affecting us physically. I'm not surprised that your dad had that at this particular time, because it's affecting all of us, and it's also affecting the planet. So he's looking at it in a new way, because he's metaphysical plus he's a scientist, which connecting the two is fascinating with the technology of your belief. And so what's happening is he's correlated these plasma storms to where there's going to be a massive earthquake, which is the earth reacting to the sun, the father and the mother, in this creation thing. And it's fascinating, by Zeus being this electricity, but the sun is giving these jolts to the earth, and she's responding.
Yeah. Wow.
And evolving. And it's fascinating because, the scientists just think it's just arbitrary that we have these earthquakes, but it's not. It's all connected.
Right.
That's
beautiful.
Well, I appreciate that, Lord, because I've and I think this is probably normal. I go through my own head, because I go through the moments before, this sort of episode happened. I think that I do something to, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, it's the fact that the energies. I
see so many people, and then I also see people taking when a white coat gives a person something, and then they breathe that in as that's the truth, and then that's the placebo that they believe in, and it's pretty much that age groups are more likely to take in what they feel is an expert, and the experts don't know how the body works.
That's the interesting thing that I found, is the fact that learning through basically from friends and family who've been through the medical profession, that they and to know that the third leading cause of death apparently in the U.S. is hospital error. Tells you a lot about this. But the fact that they don't know, they're trying, they're trying to guess, they're trying to eliminate possibilities, but they don't really always know, and that sort of credibility that you're talking about, the sort of knowing that they're sort of embodied with, is not truly there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like they really are just trying to, and so it is kind of interesting in the sense that kind of what we're talking about in terms of just energy is for me, I don't know anything about any of that. And so for me, energetically, it's just as simple as it wants to sound. It's let me just try and be as positive and loving as I can sort of in this environment, and to think that I believe that has an impact, but not everybody does. Do you know what I mean? And so it's kind of understanding on the conflicts that medicine in and of itself is not an exact science, where it's if you go into the hospital, they're going to tell you, oh, this, and this. But in terms of the actual practice, the white coats, they don't really know. Well, they're trying to address symptoms, right?
Yeah, it could be that those aren't actually medical errors. Those are patient placebo errors.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's misplaced belief, right?
Yep.
And this is how we learn to believe, isn't it? This is how we learn to ride bikes.
Yep.
We're gonna need training wheels. They're gonna look really retarded, and ultimately we're gonna want them off because they're not helping us. So you're gonna want training wheels that kind of look lame, that really make it hard to turn fast, and do things on a bike.
Can't do those sweet turns.
So that you're encouraged to get rid of them, right?
And they make a lot of noise.
Yeah. So it's, it's if you think about what a paycheck is, it's the same thing. I don't want to be in charge of my own self-worth. Can you tell me how much I'm worth? It's like, sure. Here you go. Look at this. Look, you got a comma. Look at this. You got a comma in your check. And you're just like, holy fuck, man, I got a comma. I didn't think I was worthy of being a comma. But you work hard, son. You can be a comma too. And you got that. The decimal point, I think, is even part of the belief. It's like it makes it really, well, this must be precise because this thing's 1995. So fuck. Has to work.
Yeah.
I was saying this the other day, but it's like I really sick of. I haven't heard any of you guys do this, but I'm really sick of how society, especially our sort of genre, is like always dissing on the commerce part, because most of our magic is cast via these commerce things. The commerce of self-worth, the commerce of medicine, the commerce of self-healing, even the commerce of mating, the commerce of where you live, of the car you drive. These are starter packs, aren't they? If you want to, go out and you want to have good self-worth, but you're a youngling, you've been told, hey, if you have a car that looks a certain thing, if it reflects the Steve McQueen vibe or whatever's popular in the genre, you're going to gain a lot of training wheels from that. So all of these things are showing the exact same self-worth engine. Every single thing, what we choose to eat, where we choose to live, who we choose to hang out with, how much we choose to put into our fashion, or, you get it. It's everything is just self-worth, really.
And I think when you get to this other place and then you become an anti, whatever that is, that has another kind of level up.
Yeah.
When you make an art car, or you choose not to, you're not in poverty mind. You're in unique way mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what I was trying to
you develop your own currency the same way you develop your own God.
Yeah.
I agree completely.
And that's kind of the conflicts we're trying to develop is that, right? It's the detachment from, because the reward system, if you will, is not. Well, I had a friend recently talking about that to me, about the fact of not realizing that it's like, look, what drives me is not the same thing that drives you. It's like my rewards are not the same as your rewards, and that the rewards that I kind of find myself chasing are exactly that. Do you know what I mean? It's like when I find the extra comma in the paycheck doesn't fulfill me, but see, this actually opens up another can of worms, because like we said, there's also a shaming on that side of it, and I feel like I've done that as well, as far as like thinking there's a some sort of esteem for not needing that comment, but that comma, right? Yeah. But at the same time, look at the fact that it's like, I could certainly use that comma. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not like I'm not struggling out here, but I'm trying to say,
and you could argue
doing what's right. It's like,
and you could argue that this,
like, resisting that comma.
Yeah, you could say that's you striving to not define your self-worth off of the tentacles of the herd, right?
Right.
But to do it other ways. But ultimately you realize that even though you reject this is why I come back to symbiosis, because I think sovereignty gets you there.
Yeah.
And then symbiosis hopefully lets you integrate, right? So you want to integrate. There's people in Hollywood that are like, hey, I wrote a fucking script. I'm a fucking writer. Fucking suck it. And they're like, oh my God, you're a badass. Let's do this. And then they write a script and the dude's, he's making a bunch of money. Why is that reality there? Is that reality there because that writer is superior? I don't think so.
I agree.
I think that reality is there because that guy has a different pleomorphic ability than other writers do. And his pleomorphic ability is based on his self-worth that has been trained. And you would argue, I would argue that if you wanted to really train a high self-worth individual, you probably should go to California. Raise your child there, because he will be surrounded by what the rest of the country would call narcissistic or ego-centered or whatever. I would argue is actually, look, if you're going to survive here, you have to have more self-worth. And that creates a kind of breeding ground for a higher caliber of self-worth person that has a lot of issues. Why does it have issues? Is it because you shouldn't have self-worth? No, that's what the world tells you. They have issues because they are striving for frequencies that are too difficult to hold right now. Why? Because they're like, let's fucking make them go to California. You gotta have more self-worth than you're ready for. This is what happens. You're being gaslit, right?
Yeah.
By more than 4%.
So I'm kind of pondering the Rob Reiner thing as we look at this Turtle Island, and I thought, well, that's great if you go in as a Rob Reiner, but if you have kids as a Rob Reiner, you better move them out of that state.
Yeah, right. And see,
right?
isn't this the ultimate?
Like that entitlement gets you into this other place. Yeah. If you're born into it, and then it's like, well, some of them do multi-generational and they're successful because multi-generations have talent. But what if you don't have talent? And then you're in this talent fest, infestation.
Yeah.
And then you're like a loser just because you have a famous father or something.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I don't know the story. I'm just saying.
Oh, no, this is like one of the biggest tragedies I think is around.
Right?
And if you think about it, that's this form of self. If you believe in the uber self, that you are your entire DNA line, and Rob Reiner was given too much fame, and he had to annihilate himself.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By his own progeny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a myth. That's like a mythic thing.
Yeah, it's totally mythic. Are you kidding? It's all mythic, isn't it? It's almost
Yeah.
like mythology's running the whole place.
Right?
I know, right?
I mean, don't worry, God. I didn't just say that.
it.
None of us are saying that, God. Don't worry. You don't need to ruin the whole thing for us. We're gonna. Yeah, I'm just saying it could be. Not that it is.
I know, but like thinking about that as like, you think that you get these, you get this lottery and you get these parents, right? And then you're like, well, what if you got the lottery of like these really, really like the best of the best, most creative parent? Like, and then what happens to you?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
It's
Well, that's
great.
why I think, the gaslighting is such an important percentage, right? Like you really do want to stair step it just right. This is why if you give someone a lottery ticket, someone wins the lottery and they've never had a comma in their paycheck, that person's not going to do well.
Right?
Right? They're not going to do well at all. It's going to really fuck them up.
When I worked in the corporate world, I used to like to say that 6-figure thing, I just like to say it.
Yeah.
And then I like to say that I left the 6-figure thing to be an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like both end. If I were to say what the best is the person who gets the most experience wins.
I would not disagree with that at all.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, I think that happened to me because I had 6-figure for 2, maybe 3 years, and then I got married, and I Rob Reiner myself. Yeah, I did.
But you're alive.
I'm not. Yeah, but actually, I'm not alive. I'm talking about that person that died. I'm talking about you know what I mean? Yeah, that was a man. He was like, he had a truck. He was like, always ready to help you move. He fixed your plumbing. He could do electrical, We got a little roof project over there. That's okay, we can do that. Right?
Yeah.
That's who I was. I was defining myself by my commas.
You were the herd.
And by how what's the word? What the social worth of my friends were, of my wife was, how my wife thought about me right now was most of it. Was most of like, am I a good person? Well, let me see if my wife likes me. And that's what it's like to be a man. I'm not saying it's not like that to be a woman, by the way. I'm just saying I used to be a man. Do you understand what I mean? Like I used to just be a man. I used to be this guy that was like a man. And I ran marathons and I seriously, like I volunteered. I ran a 501c3. I ran my own business. I was always traveling all over the world doing stuff. It was a very different person.
I feel the same
gone.
way, James.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I was that person too.
Yeah. Yeah. That person's gone. And honestly, Lori, that person could not handle where I am now. That person, when my car was repossessed, it was New Year's Day, it was snowing. And whenever I wake up, I always look at my car because I opened the window and I saw that my car was gone. And I saw the tracks, and I knew it had been repossessed. And I remember just being like, what am I going to do? That was like the final sort of like, I'm dead. Like this me is gone, man. And you know what? It was great. It was lonely. And luckily I was alone. Luckily I had been ostracized by my friends. I swear. This is like a blessing. Right. Seriously. This is actually I think why it happens this way so many times, because people know exactly what they need. And for like 2 years I didn't have a car, and I was luckily there was a grocery service that was delivering groceries. That was about the only way I could have even stayed here. Because I don't live in a place that has taxis and stuff, you know.
Right.
And it was such a different existence. And I remember my mom was making fun of me. My brother was making fun of me because I didn't have a car, because of how broke I was. Even when I started riding, there were some people in New York at Rhinebeck that were making fun of my car. And I remember just being so thankful that I had this truth device that I could pull up in someone's driveway and just automatically it would tell me who's superficial as fuck. Mm-hmm. Like they would come out and just say, hey, I'm superficial as fuck. And I'd be like, I did not know that about you.
That's so true.
And all the ridicule that I got, especially from my mom, I could not fucking believe that she was making fun of me for this. And I remember even that was part of, there's no other way I would have been able to see these things. There's no fucking way I would have been able to find out who the fuck I was. Not just in my eyes. See, in order for me to find out who I was, I had to find out who I was in everyone else's eyes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you find that that's so disrespectful. If you're lucky, you find... If you're lucky, you find that they do not understand who the fuck you are, and it puts that fire in you, and you become who the fuck you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all Hertz. That's all electricity. That's all Zeus, right?
Yeah.
Dang.
Sometimes you get a carpet bomb.
You just I just have little chapters of my life, and one of them was I was married to this person, and we traded in a really cute little Toyota to get one of those 70s vans, and we tricked it out with the carpeting in it.
Oh, fun.
Oh yeah, but we owned the Toyota outright, and we had this loan on the van, and when husband number one we got divorced, he got that van repoed. And I was thinking about like what it would feel like to have that happen to you.
Yeah.
You know? And then you just described that story, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, when I was younger, I have a lot associated with my transportation. I feel like the reason why I wasn't able to like really go to a good school, honestly, was because I didn't have transportation. There was just a lot of things I wasn't able to like
walking
really
uphill to school both ways. No.
Yeah, I guess in a way I do have that story. Yeah. Although to be fair, it was like a 5-hour bus ride. If I had to spend 5 hours on a bus. It was 2.5 hours there and 2.5 hours back, and you're not doing anything else. You're just sitting on a bus wondering why do I not have a car?
Is this my life?
Why is this important to my mom that I not have a car at 15? Yeah. Why is this so, or 16 or 17 or and even that I think would have been fine. It was just that everyone else around me did have that because of where we lived. This was not a place where you could live without a car. It's like that kind of thing, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it was from a very young age. It's actually why I stole a car when I was younger. That's why I've always loved Miami Vice. I watch Miami Vice, and I'm just like, those guys are so cool because they can go places. Look at him. Look at him parking. Places, right? Look at he's all of a sudden going to go somewhere. Look at him driving over a fucking bridge. It's so interesting,
this car status thing, because the car that I got after that experience was this ugliest school bus yellow car. And I had to drive it around. I was so embarrassed to drive that car.
Yeah, I was embarrassed.
And then I got this Rabbit convertible, like brand new.
Oh,
so I
fun.
Cabriolet? I had this experience. It's like, it was such a hot car. And like, how are you looked at when you're driving a school bus yellow Dodge Dart type of car versus the Rabbit convertible?
Yeah,
it makes you like driving around in a Mercedes or something. I don't know. It's just strange. This identity. It's all about
the way the world reacts to you, right? It's like, and it really is a real thing. The way the world reacts to you based on how you present yourself. You know.
Yeah.
Well, there's truth in there's truth in it, but sometimes you just want the phony truth.
Well, that's what I meant by the starter packs. For me, if you're a starter human, you're not even ready to even go past the whole look. What does the facade say? That's all I want.
You're not ready for a Rabbit convertible, man. You're not ready for a Rabbit convertible. And with that, everyone, we are about to land this flight.
Wow, look at that.
Touch back down on Turtle Island.
Huh? Happy solstice, everybody.
Happy solstice, everyone. Yes.
Yeah. From here on out, the sun's going to be getting longer every day.
Yeah, longer days.
That's a powerful thing.
In the northern hemisphere.
By the way, Lori,
season, hello.
You've inspired me. Not that everybody here doesn't inspire me, but I'm doing a little ceremony tomorrow for the solstice to welcome in this new year.
I'll join you, Brad.
Good.
Fantastic.
May you all
Bye,
do
you
that.
guys.
May you all do that.
Bye.
Thank you so much for riding with us tonight.
Just need to call